Okay. Good morning. I'm Marven D Mahaney. I'm representing Tobique Lodge here this morning. I have been a Master Mason for 55 years. And I'd like to start by telling about my first journey towards Freemasonry. In 1964, I was approached to join the lodge. Anyway, that was by my uncle, who was a past master of this lodge. So he asked me, he said, would you like to join the lodge? And I said, well, I'd been thinking about it, but not really serious. But he said, if you are, he said, I'd like to have you join the lodge, and said, I'll get you an application. I never did receive that application, and I'll tell you why. Because a day or two after that, I was talking to the master of the day, and I said, I think I want to join the lodge. And he said, oh yeah, what got you interested in that? Well, I said, Uncle Irvin asked me to, and it was just bang. That got shut off right quick.
I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to go back here and make sure that...
Master, or maybe a couple of days after that, I forget now, but anyway, I told him, I said, I'm going to join the lodge, and he asked me what got me interested, and I said, well, my Uncle Irvin asked me. And that's when things come to a halt. And he said, no, you're not. Well, why? He said, we do not solicit membership. It's up to you to ask, not us. He said, I would advise you to just put her on hold for a while. So that's what happened there. Now, that sitting master happened to be my father. So we jump ahead now to 5 years, and again I was approached to join the lodge, but I'd learned a little bit over the past experience just to keep my mouth shut. Anyway, I was summoned to attend in August of '69 to receive my entered apprentice degree. Anyway, I'm in, I'm kneeling at the altar. The worshipful master, with this assurance, said, are you ready to receive it? Yes, I am. And there was a shuffling of people moving around. The next voice I heard was the same voice that I'd heard for 29 years. It was my father again. So he'd done my initiation. He also raised me and a younger brother of mine a few years later. And Dad has passed now. He was a 50-year member. And anyway, so we took our third degree. The Grand Master was here. And if you're in this building and it's hot weather, you're going to suffer. There was 2 rows of chairs around the lodge room. And there was 2 third degrees that night. Anyway, so that was that. I got to sit in lodge November and December. January, I was outside the door. And I'm going to have something to say about that a little bit later. Anyway, I done the Tyler for the year, then I went into Inner Guard, on to Junior Stewart. And where I only lived about 5 minutes away from the hall here, they said, well, you could do the janitor work. Well, okay. At that time, it was just a light lunch after lodge. But this particular night, well, at that time we met through the summer months. They decided they was going to have a beef stew. Now this took place after the lodge meeting. And me being the janitor, I was left to clean up. So much for the stewards and the warden looking after the tables, being clothed and unclothed, left it to the janitor. But I had to get up the next morning and go to work. So I said, I'll come in tomorrow and do it. So after supper, I come in, and you can imagine walking through that door and bowls of half-eaten stew for 24 hours. Anyway, I got through it and got it cleaned up. I've done all the offices, right up through to master. And in later years, I done junior warden, senior deacon several times. Tyler a multitude of times. Probably the best office in the lodge. But anyway, everything went along pretty good. I'm jumping backwards here. When the first year, they were in the process of moving this building. That was quite a procedure, and there was a lot of discussion, a lot of battles in lodge. At times pretty harsh words spoken, but none of that ever come down the stairs. So I done senior deacon at different places, different lodges, Bethel and Colebrook particular, to help out with degree work. And when, better have a look here. My year as master was a very busy year. We had 18 meetings that year. Our 12 regular meetings plus 6 either emergent meetings or special. The special meeting was held, our regular meeting in December, I believe was on the 15th. And on the 17th, which was a Saturday, we had a special. We had 2/3 degrees. We had a supper and a social evening. And that went over pretty well. But I'm going back now to what I mentioned about being Tyler. And I don't believe a new member should ever be outside that door. And I made up my mind that I would do what I could to stop that. So when I was immediate past master, I done a little bit of politicking beforehand, and I was nominated Tyler. I went outside the door. And to my knowledge here in this lodge, there never was a new member ever went outside the door. Another thing that come up was starting time, 8 o'clock. Well, we had elderly members traveling a fair distance. My dad was one of them. I was just sitting on the sidelines at that time. And I brought it up about changing the starting time to 7:30. Well, I'll tell you, that run into some flack right off quick. And most of it came from people within 10, 15, 20 minutes of this building. Well, they talked about it, talked about the next meeting, and the next meeting, I stood up and said, Worshipful Master, I wish to make a notice motion. I'll move or cause to be moved that this starting time of Tobique Lodge be changed to 7:30. That never did have to come because they immediately put it through that the lodge would change its starting time. But I guess all it needed was a threat. But anyway, now, I was also a member of the Eastern Star, as my wife was too. And I served in the West and the East with her. We had, I guess you'd call it a catastrophe happen. A brother of this lodge, and his wife was a member of the Eastern Star. They lost 2 sons on Saturday night in a traffic accident. And how I got, somehow they wanted me to do it, to organize a get-together to go to their wake with the Masons and the Eastern Star. Not in regalia or anything like that, but just as brother and sisters. And we had a beautiful turnout. I went down and met with the family, but that was a real tragedy. We had over the years several church parades, which were usually well attended, but in the last few years we're way down on membership, and that's kind of fell by the wayside. Okay, I'm just take a second here, look around, see what I got here. Okay, year I was master, we dealt with a senior club here that called the Silver Tops. And they were something to deal with. Anyway, we did get to an agreement for rent for the building, and they were good for us. But they wanted to put insulation up overhead here, and wanted to know if I could get help there. And I said, yes, I'll get some of the boys together, and we'll do it on Saturday. Well, anyway, we got that done, but in the meantime, 2 of the brothers, one was a member of this lodge, and the other fellow, I don't know whether he was or not. But anyway, they worked, excuse me, they worked together, the forestry company across the river. One was manager, and the other was the head accountant. They were neighbors. But they get into an argument downstairs here. I'll use a couple of names here. I won't use the last names, but Alan and Wynn. Well, Alan was the manager over there, and he was quite sharp-witted at times. Anyway, whatever they got in an argument about, Wynn grabbed his coat and out the door. Somebody said, where'd Wynn go? Alan spoke up and said, apply for unemployment. They're both retired at the time. Anyway, that's just kind of a funny part there. We traveled a lot to the other lodges around the area. Bethel, Colebrook, Benjamin, and down to Carleton. But anyway, probably I guess probably the most interesting visit I made to another lodge was, I was an immediate past master. The Grand Master of the day, Most Hortial Brother Blake Olton from Bathurst, was visiting here with friends. He called me and he said, I'm going to Edmonton tomorrow night. They're having a birthday party for Nikolai Franchetti. I didn't know who he was, but I'll go. Anyway, we got there. There's this little guy up there and he's blind. He's got a lot of pep in him too, but I thought it was his 90th birthday. But I was corrected in later years about that. It was his 100th birthday. He was a well-respected man. He was loved by both English, French, Protestant, Catholic. It didn't matter to them or him. He designed churches. He asked him if he wanted to say a prayer. Yes, sir, I do. And he'd get up. And I thought he was going to fall off of them. He was up in the east. He got going, and he went right in a circle. And he'd have fell right onto the main floor if Right Worshipful Ron Baird hadn't been there to catch him. Anyway, downstairs, to have a lunch afterwards. And Brother Baird was taking him and going to take him home. And I said, "You taking him out on the town, are you?" And he said, "And don't you damn well think he wouldn't go." Anyway, that Bethel Lodge closed, I believe it was 92. And a lot of their stuff came down to Tobique. There was an old trunk down the basement full of stuff. Well, it was getting kicked around, and I'm very proud of this fact that I had brains enough when I saw this shadow box. You know, I didn't know really a whole lot about all of the pins and stuff that he had, other than things that belonged to the Blue Lodge. So I kind of kept an eye on it, and we was digging around through stuff again, that old trunk down there again, and to come to this pillar certificate. Looking at it, Nikolai Franchetti. So I started reading it. I said, "Holy smokes," I said, "he was raised in Carlton Lodge." So I took it upon myself then to salvage all that stuff. I sent the shadow box to Grand Lodge, and I personally delivered the pillar certificate to Carlton. And from there on there, the Grand Historian took over. So that's something I'm fairly proud of. Getting back to things within our lodge, we had several social evenings. Sometimes here, sometimes we used the auditorium in the high school. We joined different times at different things with the Lions Club. And when Camp Good Time come along, that was a big thing for us here. We started organizing suppers here. Started out roast beef suppers. some of the brethren along the line could see a cheaper way of doing it, so we went to a ham supper. Well, turkey's cheaper, so we went to turkey suppers. That was a disaster because turkey's hard to work with, it's a mess. So we went back to roast beef. And many, many years we had roast beef suppers, and I think the last probably 5 years we haven't done any. No members, no workers, which is, I guess, common in all these small lodges, maybe some of the bigger ones. It's been an interesting journey. Now I'm going to say, why am I the Master Mason now, or the Worshipful Master now? We had well, it started with COVID. And then we had a misfortune with the Master of the day, and he threw in the hat. We were that close to turn the lights out here. Somebody's got to step forward, and I, being one of the senior members of the lodge, and I was the senior active member. I didn't want to do it, but I said, I got to step forward, and I did. Apparently it wasn't a close election. So this is my 3rd year at it this time, my 4th year overall, and hopefully we have a new master next year, but we'll see. Basically that's my trip through Freemasonry so far. One thing that I'm very proud of, and it was very unexpected, was a Quinn medallion. I was getting ready to come to lodge. My phone rang and it said Hampton on the phone. Well, I had a sister-in-law living in Hampton, and she wasn't well. So I said, what's going on? I answered the phone, and it was a man's voice. Just Marvin? Yes. He said, Randy Nelson. He said, I want to congratulate you on the Quinn medallion. Total surprise. I still feel today I didn't deserve it, but you're not going to take it away from me. The district deputy, not the district deputy, he was involved, but now past Grand Master Brunswick, he drove up from St. George to present it. And district deputy said, how's that make you feel? Very humble. Anyway, I guess that's about all I've got to say. Long live Freemasonry. Thank you.